Every single world leader, every central banker, they all face this fundamental economic puzzle. It's a choice that's so tricky, it's often called the impossible Trinity. And today, we're going to dive into exactly what that is and, more importantly, why it matters so much.
So let me just ask you this. If you were put in charge of a country's entire economy, what would you want? Do you think you could actually design the perfect system?
Well, you'd probably have a wish list that looks a little something like this, right? First off, a rock-solid currency that everyone trusts, which makes trade super predictable. Next, you'd want money to flow in and out of your country just totally freely, because that's how you attract investment. And of course, you'd want your central bank to have complete control to be able to steer the economy and fight off things like unemployment or high inflation. I mean, sounds perfect, doesn't it?
Well, here's the catch. You can't have all three. It's not possible. In the grand game of international economics, you are always forced to choose, and something's always got to give.
This fundamental rule has a name, and it's pretty fitting: the impossible Trinity. It's this core concept that really explains the tough economic trade-offs that every single country on Earth has to make. Now, if you want to get formal, its technical name is the Mundell-Fleming trilemma. It was developed by these two brilliant economists, Robert Mundell and Marcus Fleming. And what they did was lay out exactly why a country just can't have a stable currency, free-flowing capital, and independent economic control all at the same time. Probably the best way to wrap your head around this is to picture a triangle. Each corner represents one of those perfect economic goals we talked about. Now, a country can choose to live on any two sides of this triangle, but it can never, ever have the whole thing. It is a permanent, unavoidable trade-off.
So what do these choices actually look like in the real world? Let's break down each of the three prizes a country could decide to chase.
First up, you could go for a fixed exchange rate. This is when a country decides, okay, we're going to peg our currency's value to another, more stable one, like the US dollar. The huge upside here? It creates incredible stability and predictability for any business that imports or exports. But here's the trade-off. You give up a ton of control over your own economy to keep that peg in place. The second prize you could chase is free capital mobility. This just means investors can move their money into or out of your country with zero barriers. It's like rolling out the red carpet for foreign investment, which is fantastic for boosting growth. The downside? Well, these huge waves of money sloshing in and out can make it really, really hard for your central bank to control things like interest rates.
And the final goal, an independent monetary policy. This is basically the power of your central bank to set its own interest rates to deal with what's happening at home, to fight inflation or to boost job growth. It's an incredibly powerful tool. But if you let capital flow freely, using this tool will inevitably make your currency's value jump all over the place.
Okay, so we know the three goals, and we know we can't have them all. But why? Why is it impossible? Let's walk through the logic together. This is where it all clicks into place. So just imagine a country tries to cheat the system. Let's say it locks in a fixed exchange rate and allows for free capital mobility. It's got two of the three. Now it tries to sneak in that third goal, using its independent policy to lower interest rates, maybe to get the local economy going. So what happens next? Well, investors all over the world see this, and they're not dumb. They start pulling their money out, seeking better returns somewhere else. This sparks a massive capital outflow. All that selling puts enormous downward pressure on the currency, which threatens that fixed rate. So to defend the peg, the central bank has to intervene. It's forced to jack interest rates right back up to stop the money from leaving. And just like that, its independent policy is gone. It had to sacrifice its control to keep the other two goals. You see? You just can't have all three.
And listen, this isn't just some theory in a textbook. Every single major economy is constantly making a choice on this trilemma. Let's look at a few real-world examples to see exactly how this plays out.
This chart breaks it down perfectly. Take the United States. It chooses free capital mobility and an independent policy. And what's the trade-off? Well, it sacrifices a fixed exchange rate. That's why the dollar's value is always floating up and down. Now look at China. It prioritizes a managed exchange rate and its own policy independence. To pull that off, it has to give up free capital mobility. It does this by using capital controls, which are basically rules that limit how much money can flow in and out. And then you've got the Eurozone. All those countries locked into a fixed exchange rate, the euro, and they have free capital flow between member states. So what did they sacrifice? Each individual country gave up its independent monetary policy. That power goes to the European Central Bank. This creates unity, for sure, but it also meant that during the debt crisis, a country like Greece couldn't devalue its currency or set its own interest rates to fight off a brutal recession.
So, the crucial point in all of this is that there's no magic bullet. There is no single best choice here. Choosing your economic path is all about deciding which one of these incredibly desirable goals you're willing to give up in order to get the other two. It's a strategic choice, and it all depends on a country's priorities. And this puzzle isn't some one-and-done decision. As the global economy shifts and changes, countries are constantly reevaluating their choices. The debate over which sacrifice is worth making, well, it pretty much never ends.
So I want to leave you with this question. In the world we live in today, with rapid inflation, geopolitical shifts, and really unpredictable markets, if you had to choose which one of these three goals is the most critical for a nation's success, a stable currency, open investment, or total domestic economic control, the answer to that question is what's shaping our world right now.